Hi modelers, it's Chris, the modeler at ABR Modelworks, and welcome to the video on our latest product, a baseboard system for the Kato Unitrack system in N scale. Now Kato produces Unitrack in N scale, and N scale is a great scale because it's quite small and you can do an awful lot in a small area. Now around the world there are groups of modelers who model in N scale and they use the Kato track system. And what they've done is they've set a standard up for baseboards so that they can have a diorama style module in various lengths that has the Kato track attached to it in the buildings and all your scenery parts. And then they have little adjustable feet on their baseboards, so little bolts on the, or screws, and you can put them then on a table like I've done with these two baseboards, slide them together, and if the track was actually attached to the baseboards, they would just clip together. So it's a little bit like, you know, the set track itself. You simply just push it together and there you have two pieces of track joined. Now that's not new, that's been around for a long time, but what's really cool about this idea is that you can add all of that lovely diorama scenic material to a relatively small space. About this is that you can go and join other modelers, join your baseboards together and put together quite a large layout, all just sitting on the top of, you know, little tables. So it's a really neat way of going. And if you don't have a lot of space, the other thing that you can do is you can actually just put your rollway on the kitchen table, set it up, run it for a while, pull it apart and store it. And like I'm doing with my modular system for the HO scale layout that I'm doing, I will have a whole bunch of modules that will be stored away between shows. So it's a great way of going, and there's quite a few people, not just in Australia but around the world, doing this. Now this system came about thanks to Tony, a modeler up in Queensland, Australia, and he saw our standard modular system for baseboards, liked it a lot, got in touch with us and said, hey, I need to have a baseboard at certain lengths, and the reason for that is that for the Kato track, when you join it together, there needs to be a little gap. So a 600mm long baseboard actually needs to be 618mm, which gives you a little bit of an overhang of track either end, which then allows the track to be plugged together. So he was asking if I would make something like that as a custom item for him. So I thought, okay, look, let's help Tony out and we'll make up the system. So what we've done is we've got a 300mm, which is actually 308mm, a 618mm, and of course the 365, which is the corner piece. Now the corner pieces don't have backs on them, so the idea is that your track goes around and you can join these together in whatever configuration you like to make up the layout. So it could be a loop or it could be just a continuously long layout, and you can then put something else on the ends if you want to do a loop as a turnaround, as opposed to coming around a full circle. So there's lots of options, the same as there is with this system. So there we have it, we've got a brand new product. What I'd like to do next is basically show you how you put them together. It's much the same as these, there are a couple of small differences though. Now the kit comes flat pack. It has the end pieces, the side pieces, the center bracing, the cross brace, the corner connectors and the back piece. So let's show you how they quickly slot together to make a baseboard. Okay, so let's take our pieces and put them off to one side. Now you can tell the center pieces is that they're plain on both sides, whereas the side pieces and end pieces all have this extra little bit of engraving on them. So the first thing you need to do is identify which of the ribs have a little cutout in them, and the cutout is for this little disc that gets glued on after it goes together, that is then used to screw the cross brace to. Once you've worked out where the three cross braces go and then the longitudinal brace goes, just simply get a sanding block and then just lightly sand the edge off the little tongues so that they'll drop in nice and easily. And just put some glue on and drop them into place. Now I'm not going to glue this together because I'm going to use this one as a piece to show people how easily it is that they go together at some shows, etc. The centerpiece then just drops in like so. Now the only thing that sort of bear in mind here is that they do go together nicely, but if you don't get the sanding done and you're slow putting them together, the glue may bind it up, and if that happens and it doesn't get to the stage, you're potentially got some trouble. Now we'll need some masking tape to hold the sides on. We'll put our glue in place, we'll get our side pieces, get them all lined up like so, put a little bit of masking tape on, pull it tight so that you've got the two surfaces coming together so that the glue gets its best chance to do its job. You can either roll it onto its side or you can roll it over, and again we'll apply some tape pulling the side piece to the base, or rather the top. Now I'm only doing it at the joint lines. I would potentially put, if I was gluing this, some additional tape on there just to make sure that that's nice and tightly glued together. And that's the same, just work your way around, pull the ends, corners together, pull it together nice and tight, and then the last one on the ends. Oops, other way around. Okay, so there we have it. Now, just to recap, it's easier now to see what I'm talking about, where this disc is. But this rib is important that it's in the middle, because that disc will sit in there like so. Now, we have these corner pieces, and the corner pieces will come to you as a square like so with two holes in it. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to push this rivet nut through. We supply the rivet nuts because a lot of people probably won't know what that is, but it's a little bit like a pop rivet. You use a special gun, it gets squeezed together, it will help to hold two pieces of metal together, or just through a piece of metal, and it's threaded on the inside as a nut. In our case, what we do is smear a little bit of glue on there, push our nut in, which lines everything up nicely, put some glue around like so, and drop them in the corners. And of course that strengthens the corner up dramatically, and that's it. And then the last thing we do is we drop our cross brace on like so. You'll see that there's some holes already pre-cut. What you do is you'll drill through one hole, and you'll need some 6 gauge 12mm self-tappers. They're metal screws, I know, but these work quite well. And so all you'll do is you'll drill a hole, pop one in, do one in the center, pop one in, and then that should then stay in the right place, and you can continue drilling your holes and putting these in. Now the reason why I screw it on at this stage is that when we paint it to seal it, I'll take that off, but it's there so it can come off for when you're putting your wiring or any point motors or anything that needs to be hidden in underneath your board, and it allows you to get into it quite easily. Then once it's assembled, as far as that there makes it super rigid and still nice and light. The last thing that you'll do, if you wish to, of course, is that you can attach a backboard to it. Now in the frame itself, there's a little square opening for the RCA connectors that you'll just mount up. And there's a corresponding rectangular hole in the baseboard that goes like so, with the logo at the back. That's part of the standard for how the system is designed to be connected together. We will put some details on where to find that information on our website, but at this stage it's not up there. But anybody who's looking at this can reach out. So there we go. That's what the finished product will look like. Pretty straightforward. The little feet are just adjustable bolts. Whichever type of bolt you want, doesn't really matter. A 6mm in diameter. You need to supply those, you need to supply the screws and whatever you decide to use to fasten the background to the back of the baseboard. Now, some people just use some Velcro, which is all fine. The other thing I'll point out is that, like our other system, we have obviously these little triangular style of holes through it, which is good because it allows you to run your wiring wherever you need to go, and it supports the wiring at the same time. But these holes are there so that if you choose to, you can bolt a module together. Now, as I said at the beginning, the T-Track system is designed so that it does have a gap, but there's no reason why you can't have a T-Track module with a T-Track piece hanging off the end like so, and then go to standard N-gauge track for whatever else you're doing, in which case you can then just bolt those modules together and have the track coming up flush at the end. And then that way you can connect this module on that series of modules to other T-Track modules. And people are doing that, so up to you as to which way you want to go. But that's essentially it. Now the last thing I'll just quickly point out, you will need a couple of tools, a sanding block just to clean up the little tabs, some masking tape, Phillips screwdriver or for your screws. Of course you'll need the screws and the RCA plugs. The details for all of that will be on the website shortly. And currently we have the 308, the 618 and of course the square piece for the corners. If you wish to reach out for longer pieces, we'll probably make at some point a 1200 kit and a 900 kit. But at this stage I don't have any plans to do that. But if you decide you want one, reach out to us and we'll make it for you. Additionally, the other thing is that along with the other modules that we produce for HO and N-gauge for that matter as well, those baseboards, we're shipping them all over Australia and we've shipped them to the US and other places around the world. The same thing goes for this as well. So currently available right now. Details will be on the website. Now, as a final thing, if you haven't subscribed as yet, please do so and ring the bell for notifications, and please also tell as many people about our channel as you possibly can, because getting more people looking at what we're doing will help us tremendously. I'm Chris the Modeller at ABR Model Works. Have a great day modelling, and thanks for watching.